I found my son sleeping on a bench at the bus station with my 6-year-old granddaughter curled up against his chest. They were both covered in dirt, and my granddaughter was holding a stuffed rabbit that looked like it had been dragged through every street in Boston. My name is Margaret Holloway, and I'm 65 years old. I used to be a nurse before I retired 3 years ago. That morning, I was supposed to be picking up my prescription at the pharmacy near South Station. Instead, I was standing frozen, watching my son David and my granddaughter Emma sleeping on a hard metal bench like they had nowhere else to go. David, my beautiful boy who used to be a firefighter, who saved 17 people from burning buildings over his 10-year career, who married Rachel 5 years ago in a beautiful ceremony by the harbor, who called me every Sunday morning without fail, until he stopped calling. That was 2 years ago. 2 years since Rachel told me they were moving to Denver for her new pharmaceutical sales job. 2 years since David said he needed space from me because I had questioned whether the move was right for Emma. 2 years since I heard my son's voice. I thought they were living their best life in Colorado. Rachel's social media showed photos of mountains and beautiful homes. She never posted David or Emma, but I assumed they were just private. Now I knew why. I walked closer. My hands were shaking. David's face was thinner than I remembered, with a rough beard and a scar running down his left cheek that hadn't been there before. Emma's clothes were clean but worn, her shoes held together with duct tape. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. Instead, I knelt down and gently touched Emma's shoulder. Her eyes opened, big brown eyes just like David's. She looked at me for a long moment, confused. Then recognition flooded her face. "Grandma?" she whispered. "Yes, baby, it's Grandma." Emma started crying, not loud sobs, but quiet tears that broke my heart into 1,000 pieces. David woke up immediately, his body tensing like he was ready to fight. Then he saw me. "Mom," he said. Just that one word. His voice cracked. "David, what happened? Where's Rachel? Why are you here?" He looked away. "We need to go." "Come on, Emma." "Go where, David? You're sleeping on a bench." "We're fine, Mom. We don't need your help." "Don't need my help? Your daughter is wearing shoes held together with tape. You look like you haven't eaten a proper meal in weeks. Please, David, let me help you." Emma looked up at her father. "Daddy, I'm so tired. Can we go with Grandma, please?" I saw something break in David's eyes. He pulled Emma close and buried his face in her hair. His shoulders shook. "Please, son," I whispered. He nodded once. Just once. I took them to my car. I didn't ask questions. Not yet. I just drove them to my small house in Dorchester, the same house where David grew up, the same house where I'd rocked him to sleep when he had nightmares, the same house he'd sworn he'd never need again. At home, I made Emma take a warm bath while I put her clothes in the washing machine. I gave her one of my old t-shirts to wear, which hung on her like a dress. She sat at the kitchen table eating scrambled eggs like she hadn't seen food in days. David stood in the doorway, watching her. He wouldn't sit down. He wouldn't look at me. "I made coffee," I said. "I can't stay long." "David, you're not going anywhere until you tell me what happened." "It's complicated." "Try me. I've got time." He finally looked at me, really looked at me. His eyes were haunted. "I got hurt," he said quietly. 14 months ago. There was a warehouse fire in Quincy. I went in to get 2 workers who were trapped. The floor collapsed under me. I fell through to the basement. My hand went to my mouth. I broke my back in 3 places, burned my left arm and side. They told me I'd walk again, but I'd never pass the physical requirements to be a firefighter again. Oh, David, I also have PTSD, nightmares, panic attacks. The doctors said it was normal after what happened, but Rachel, she couldn't handle it. She said I wasn't the man she married anymore. She said she couldn't be married to someone broken. The anger that surged through me was white hot. "She left you when you were hurt?" "Worse. She filed for divorce and full custody of Emma. She told the court I was mentally unstable, dangerous. She had her lawyer paint me as this violent, unpredictable person who could hurt Emma at any moment." "That's insane! You would never hurt Emma." "I know that, Mom. But on paper, a former firefighter with PTSD, panic attacks, no job, no income, the court was leaning in her favor. My lawyer told me I'd probably lose custody. So what happened?" I panicked. The night before the custody hearing, I took Emma and left. I know it was wrong. I know it makes me look guilty. But I couldn't let Rachel have her, Mom. Rachel doesn't love Emma. She just wanted to win. Where's Rachel now? Still in Boston. She moved in with her new boyfriend, some pharmaceutical executive. Big house in Newton. She's been looking for us. She's got a private investigator and everything. David, running makes you look worse. I know. But what choice did I have? If I lose Emma, Rachel will ship her off to boarding school or leave her with nannies while she travels for work. Emma means nothing to her except a trophy. A way to look like a good person. Emma had fallen asleep at the table, her head resting on her arms. David picked her up carefully and I showed him to his old bedroom. I'd kept it the same all these years. Same blue walls. Same posters of fire trucks. Different now that my grown son was laying his daughter on the twin bed. You can have my room, I said. I'll take the couch. Mom, I can't ask you to do that. You're not asking. I'm telling you. Both of you are staying here and we're going to figure this out the right way. If Rachel finds out I'm here, she'll have me arrested for kidnapping. Then we need to get ahead of this. Tomorrow morning, we're going to find you a lawyer. A good one. I can't afford a lawyer, Mom. I lost everything. My job, my health insurance, my savings. Rachel cleaned out our joint account before she filed. I've been doing odd jobs for cash, but it's barely enough to feed Emma. I have some money saved. We'll use that. I can't take your retirement money. David Michael Holloway, you listen to me. You are my son. Emma is my granddaughter. I would sell this house if I had to. Now, you're going to sleep in a real bed tonight, and tomorrow we're going to fix this mess. He started crying then, not like Emma's quiet tears, deep, shaking sobs that came from a place of complete exhaustion. I held him like I did when he was little, and I wondered how Rachel could have looked at this brave, broken man and seen anything other than someone worth fighting for. The next morning, I called every lawyer I could find in the phone book. Most were too expensive. Some wouldn't take the case once they heard about the custody order. Finally, I found a woman named Patricia Chen who agreed to meet with us. Patricia was in her 50s, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. She listened to David's story without interrupting. You're in a difficult position, she said finally. Running with your daughter when there's a custody order makes you look guilty. But I understand why you did it. The question is, how do we fix this? Can we fix it? David asked. Maybe. I need to see all the medical documentation about your PTSD. I need character witnesses who can testify that you're a good father. I need evidence that Rachel is not acting in Emma's best interests. And honestly, we need to address the elephant in the room. Which is? You need to turn yourself in. We need to do this voluntarily before Rachel's investigator finds you. That shows good faith. David's face went pale. They'll take Emma from me the second I walk into that courthouse. Not if I'm there with a petition for emergency custody to your mother. Margaret would take temporary custody while we sort this out. That way Emma stays in the family, and you show you're willing to work within the system. I reached over and took David's hand. We can do this, together. It took 3 days to gather everything. David's medical records showing his treatment for PTSD, letters from his old fire chief praising his character, Emma's pediatrician confirming she was healthy and well cared for despite their circumstances, statements from neighbors at their old apartment building describing Rachel as cold and absent. The hardest part was getting Emma ready to possibly testify. Patricia said the judge might want to hear from her, and we needed to prepare her for that possibility. Emma, honey, I said one evening while we were baking cookies together. Do you remember living with your mommy and daddy together? Yes. But mommy was always angry. She yelled at daddy a lot after he got hurt. What did she say? She said daddy was broken. She said he wasn't a man anymore. She made him sleep on the couch. Emma's voice got smaller. Sometimes she locked daddy out of the house. He had to sleep in his car. My heart broke all over again. Did your mommy ever hurt you? She didn't hit me. But she forgot to pick me up from school a lot. The teachers would call, and she wouldn't answer. Daddy always came to get me, even when he was hurt, even when he was crying from the pain. I hugged her tight. You're very brave, Emma, and I need you to know that Daddy didn't do anything wrong. He was protecting you. I know. I told him I wanted to stay with him. I don't want to live with Mommy. She doesn't love me like Daddy does. On the morning we were supposed to go to the courthouse, I made David's favorite breakfast, blueberry pancakes with real maple syrup. He couldn't eat much. He kept looking at Emma like he was trying to memorize her face. It's going to be okay, I told him. What if it's not? What if this is the last morning I have with her? Then we fight harder. But David, running forever is no life for Emma. She deserves stability. She deserves to go to school and have friends and not worry about looking over her shoulder. I know. You're right. I can't lose her, Mom. You won't. We won't let that happen. Patricia met us at the courthouse. She had prepared all the paperwork for my emergency custody petition. The plan was simple. David would turn himself in, I would immediately file for temporary custody, and we'd request an emergency hearing. What we didn't plan for was Rachel being there. She was standing in the courthouse lobby with a tall man in an expensive suit. Her lawyer, I assumed. When she saw David, her face lit up with triumph. There he is! Officers, that's him. That's the man who kidnapped my daughter. 2 courthouse security officers approached. Patricia stepped in front of David. My client is here voluntarily to address the custody matter. We have paperwork to file. Rachel rushed forward, trying to reach Emma. Emma! Sweetheart! Mommy's here! Emma pressed herself against David's legs. No, I don't want to go with you. Emma, don't be silly. This man took you away from me. He's been lying to you. He's not a man, he's my daddy. And you're the liar. You told everyone Daddy was crazy, but you're the one who's mean. Rachel's face flushed. The tall man in the suit whispered something to her. She forced a smile. Emma, honey, you're confused. Daddy's sick. He needs help. You're going to come live with me and Richard. We have a big house with a pool. Won't that be fun? I don't care about your stupid pool. I want to stay with Daddy and Grandma. The judge agreed to see us immediately given the circumstances. We all filed into the courtroom. The judge, a woman in her 60s named Judge Martinez, looked tired and not particularly happy to be dealing with a custody dispute on a Friday afternoon. Rachel's lawyer went first. He painted a picture of David as a dangerous, unstable man who had violated a court order and traumatized his daughter by forcing her to live on the streets. Your Honor, my client has been searching for her daughter for weeks. She's been terrified. She had no idea if Emma was alive or dead. Mr. Holloway's actions show a complete disregard for the law and for his daughter's well-being. Patricia stood up. Your Honor, if I may. Mr. Holloway is a decorated firefighter who suffered severe injuries in the line of duty. He has PTSD, yes, but he has been in treatment and has never posed any danger to his daughter. He was facing a custody hearing that was fundamentally unfair because Miss Rachel Holloway painted him as unstable when, in fact, she was the one who abandoned him during his medical crisis. That's not true, Rachel burst out. I didn't abandon him. I tried to help him, but he refused treatment. He was violent and unpredictable. Do you have any evidence of violence, Miss Holloway? Judge Martinez asked. He would have these episodes. Flashbacks. He scared me. Did he ever hit you? No, but did he ever threaten you or Emma? Not directly, but the potential was there. Patricia pulled out a folder. Your Honor, I have statements from Mr. Holloway's therapist, his doctor, and his former colleagues. All of them state that he has never shown any violent tendencies. His PTSD manifests as nightmares and panic attacks, which he manages with therapy and medication. What Miss Holloway calls unpredictable is actually a man dealing with trauma from saving lives. Your Honor, Rachel's lawyer interjected, the fact remains that Mr. Holloway violated a court order. He took a child without permission. That is kidnapping, regardless of his intentions. Which is why he's here voluntarily, Patricia said. He's not running anymore. He's here to make things right. And his mother, Margaret Holloway, is petitioning for temporary emergency custody while this matter is resolved. Emma needs stability, and Margaret can provide that. Judge Martinez looked at me. Mrs. Holloway, tell me about your relationship with your granddaughter. I stood up. My legs were shaking, but my voice was steady. Your Honor, I love Emma with all my heart. I didn't know my son was in trouble because he was too proud to ask for help, and I regret that every day. But I'm here now. I have a stable home. I'm retired, so I can give Emma my full attention. She's been staying with me for the past week, and in that time, she's eaten proper meals, slept in a real bed, and started to smile again. I'm not trying to take her from her mother permanently. I just want what's best for Emma while the adults figure this out. And what do you think is best for Emma? I think she needs her father. David is a good man who made a desperate choice because he thought he was going to lose his daughter. Was it the right choice? Maybe not, but it came from love, not malice. Rachel stood up. Your Honor, this is ridiculous. I'm Emma's mother. I have a stable home, a stable relationship, and the means to provide for her. David is homeless. He's been dragging her around sleeping on benches. Because you took everything from him. I couldn't help it, the words burst out of me. You took his savings, his home, and then you tried to take his daughter by lying about him to the court. You said he was violent when you knew it wasn't true. That's enough, Judge Martinez said firmly. Mrs. Holloway, I understand your emotions, but outbursts won't help your case. I apologize, Your Honor. But I have something else to say. May I approach? Patricia looked at me, confused. We hadn't discussed this. But Judge Martinez nodded. I walked forward and handed her a small recording device. What is this? The judge asked. 3 days ago, Rachel came to my house when David wasn't there. She didn't know I was home. She was talking to someone on the phone, and I recorded the conversation through my window. I know it might not be legal to use in court, but I think you need to hear it. Rachel's face went white. That's illegal. You can't record someone without permission. In Massachusetts, only one party needs to consent to a recording, Patricia said quickly. If Margaret was a party to the conversation, or it took place where there was no expectation of privacy, it may be admissible. Judge Martinez looked skeptical, but gestured for me to play it. The recording was scratchy, but Rachel's voice was clear. Richard, I don't even want the kid. I just want to make sure David doesn't get anything. He humiliated me by being so weak after the accident. All my friends pitied me. I'm not going to let him ride off into the sunset while I look like the bad guy. Yes, I know once I have custody, we can send her to boarding school. She'll be fine. It's not about Emma. It's about winning. The courtroom went silent. Judge Martinez turned off the recording and looked at Rachel. Miss Holloway, is this your voice? Rachel's lawyer put his hand on her arm, but she shook him off. This is taken out of context. I was upset. I didn't mean. You said you don't want your daughter. I was angry. David put me through hell with this custody battle. A custody battle you started, Patricia pointed out. Judge Martinez held up her hand. I've heard enough. Here's what's going to happen. Emergency temporary custody is granted to Margaret Holloway for the next 60 days. During that time, I'm ordering a full custody evaluation by a neutral third party. Mr. Holloway, you will continue your therapy and document your progress. Miss Holloway, you will do the same, and you'll also undergo a psychological evaluation to assess your fitness as a parent. Your Honor, this is outrageous, Rachel's lawyer protested. What's outrageous is a mother admitting on tape that she's using her child as a weapon in a divorce. We will reconvene in 60 days, and at that time, I'll make a determination about permanent custody. Until then, Emma stays with her grandmother. Mr. Holloway, you may have supervised visits 3 times a week. Miss Holloway, you may have supervised visits twice a week. Court is adjourned. The gavel came down. David grabbed my hand. He was crying. Emma was crying. I was crying too. Rachel stormed out of the courtroom without looking back. The tall man in the suit followed her, already on his phone. Thank you, David whispered. Mom, thank you. I told you we'd fight for her. Patricia gathered her papers. That recording was risky, Margaret. We got lucky that the judge allowed it, but it might have just saved this case. I didn't plan to record her, I admitted. But when I heard what she was saying, I knew the judge needed to hear it. Emma deserved better than to be used as a pawn. The next 60 days were hard but beautiful. Emma started school near my house. She made friends. She laughed again. David found a job as a dispatcher for a private ambulance company. It wasn't firefighting, but it was honest work, and it let him be around the medical field he loved. He also continued his therapy religiously. Every session, every appointment, documented and filed with the court. He wanted to show Judge Martinez that he was serious about his mental health. Rachel showed up for her supervised visits exactly twice. Both times, she spent most of the hour on her phone. Emma tried to show her a drawing from school, and Rachel barely looked at it. After the second visit, Rachel stopped coming entirely. When we went back to court 60 days later, the custody evaluator's report was damning for Rachel. It noted her lack of engagement during visits, her admission on the recording that she didn't want Emma, and her failure to provide any evidence that David was a danger to his daughter. In contrast, David's report glowed. The evaluator noted his commitment to therapy, his stable employment, his close bond with Emma, and the support system I provided. Judge Martinez didn't take long to make her decision. In the matter of custody of Emma Holloway, I am granting primary physical custody to David Holloway, with legal custody shared between both parents. Miss NMSH Holloway will have visitation rights every other weekend, provided she completes a parenting class and undergoes counseling. Mrs. Margaret Holloway is appointed as Emma's guardian in the event that Mr. Holloway is unable to care for her due to medical emergency. David dropped his head into his hands. His shoulders shook. "Thank you," he told the judge. "Thank you so much. Mr. Holloway, I want to be clear. You still violated a court order, and that's not something I take lightly. However, I understand why you felt you had no choice, and I believe you've shown tremendous growth and responsibility over these past months. Don't make me regret this decision." "I won't, Your Honor. I promise." Rachel didn't show up for the final hearing. Her lawyer said she was in California on business. She never called to say goodbye to Emma. 6 months later, David moved into a small apartment 2 blocks from my house. It wasn't much, but it was his. Emma had her own room, painted pink with stars on the ceiling. David painted them himself, staying up late after work to get them just right. I helped him move in, carrying boxes of Emma's toys and books. As I watched David hang up family photos on the wall, I thought about how close we'd come to losing everything. "Mom," David said, hanging up a picture of the 3 of us at the courthouse, "I never apologized for pushing you away 2 years ago. I was angry and hurt, and I took it out on you. I'm sorry. You don't have to apologize. I'm just glad you're home. I wouldn't have made it without you. When I was sleeping on that bench, I thought my life was over. I thought I'd failed Emma in every possible way. But you found us. You saved us. You saved yourself, David. I just gave you a soft place to land." Emma ran into the room carrying her stuffed rabbit. "Daddy, can we go to Grandma's for dinner? She said she's making spaghetti." "We can do whatever you want, Princess." "Then Grandma's. I love her spaghetti." As we walked to my house, Emma holding both our hands, I thought about what that judge had said to David, about not making her regret her decision. David would never give her reason to regret it. He was stronger now, not despite his scars, but because of them. And me? I was just grateful I'd been at that pharmacy near South Station on that particular morning. Grateful I'd taken the shortcut through the bus station. Grateful I'd looked at that bench instead of walking past it. Because that's what family does. We find each other when we're lost. We fight for each other when the world tries to tear us apart. And we never ever give up. Emma is 8 now. She's in 3rd grade and wants to be a veterinarian. David got promoted to supervisor at the ambulance company, and he's been 3 years free of panic attacks. He still has nightmares sometimes, but he knows how to handle them. As for Rachel, she sends a check every month for child support. She moved to Los Angeles with Richard. She's never visited. Last I heard, she's pregnant with Richard's child. I hope for that baby's sake she's learned something about what it means to be a mother. But I don't think about Rachel much anymore. I'm too busy living my life with my son and my granddaughter. Too busy making spaghetti dinners and attending parent-teacher conferences. Too busy being grandma. Sometimes Emma asks me about that day at the bus station. She asks if I was scared when I found them. Yes, I tell her honestly. I was terrified. But you helped us anyway. That's what love is, sweetheart. It's being scared but showing up anyway. It's fighting even when you think you might lose. It's never giving up on the people who matter most. Like you never gave up on Daddy. Like I'll never give up on either of you." She hugs me tight, and I breathe in the strawberry scent of her shampoo. My son is in the kitchen making coffee, humming along to the radio. My house is full of noise and life and love. This is what I fought for. This moment, this family, this second chance. And I'd do it all over again in a heartbeat.